Good morning, ladies and gents. So I'm back with another video. This time I'm going to be looking at the Season 8 patch notes, plus as well launching a massive Conquerors Blade giveaway, which you are definitely going to want to stay tuned and be a part of. Before we get into the video though, hit that subscribe button if you want to be kept up to date with the latest and greatest of Conquerors Blade. So then, starting off with the Season 8 patch notes. Season 8 dropped on us last week on Thursday, and with it, it has brought the Dynasty season, which is a Eastern Chinese inspired season, which along with it brings 3 new units, a new weapon, and a whole host of other goodies. I am going to be covering the patch notes. I am going to leave a link down in the description box below for you as well, because I am only going to be looking at the main parts of the patch notes. I'm not going to read this literally word for word. If you want to look at the patch notes more in depth, then just go to that link down the bottom. The giveaway I will be going into at some point during the video, so you're going to need to stay tuned. Firstly, we have 3 new units for Season 8. We have the 3-star Conqueror Monks, the 4-star Greyhair Garrison, and the 5-star Modal Battalion. Now, I'm sure most of you have probably already seen all of these units in action on the PTR through the content creators kind of preview event. However, just some quick thoughts on them. The Conqueror Monks, I think, are already in line for getting a slight buff from what I have been reading. The Greyhair Garrison, I think, are going to be the standout unit of this season. The Modal Battalion, I know, is going to have a lot of changes and everything made to it from the PTR version, because while they were on the PTR version, they were still kind of classed as a tier 4 unit. They have been bumped up to a tier 5 unit, but the leadership and a few other kind of statistics had not yet been updated. So these guys will be unlocking in a few weeks, just after the Greyhair Garrison, which will be unlocking again in a week or two. Right now we have the opportunity to unlock the Conqueror Monks either through purchasing them for sovereigns or by grinding out their quests. Now, there's not many pages for the 3-star Conqueror Monks. I would suggest just literally grinding out these quests and unlocking it that way, unless you are desperately in want and need of playing them. All of these units are classed as obviously the seasonal units, and because of that, the leadership requirements are reduced by 10 for the entirety of Season 8, and their resupply cost is reduced by 50% as well. So it really gives you a good opportunity, a good chance to get these units, unlock them, level them up, and really learn how to play them. Moving on from the units, we've also had our 12th weapon drop, which is the pike. Now, the pike, again, you can either purchase this through the marketplace, or you can unlock this through the challenges and the grinding of those challenges. It's all dependent on how quick you want to play with the pike. I am still in the process of learning the pike. I can see its potential, though. It is, I think, has a massive potential when learned how to play properly, because it comes really well equipped with a lot of different combos and everything. I don't think, personally, from what I have seen, what I've heard, and how I've played it so far, it's OP at all. I don't believe it is in any way, shape or form OP. I think it's a very well balanced class in terms of in comparison to everything else. As I'm going through the stages of learning the weapon and learning actually what works, what doesn't work, and all the rest of it, once I get to a point where I feel I've done all that, I am going to be making a very in-depth kind of pike class guide, so keep an eye out for that in the next few weeks. It's going to be a similar format to my glaive build, so definitely if you are looking at picking up the pike class and playing it and learning it, keep an eye out for one of those guides, which is going to be dropping in the next few weeks. Obviously, we've got all different weekly challenges. We have different campaign dates and everything as well. Battle Pass as well, we've had obviously updated for Season 8 with a whole host of new drops. Literally works exactly the same way as previous seasons, though. Seasonal store, the seasonal runes have all changed somewhat. I am not going to go specifically into the runes in this video. I am going to do that in a separate video, because a lot of runes have changed, and the builds which you can create using said runes has also changed as well for each of the different weapons and armors, because we can now actually put runes into boots and braces as well. So it actually does give you a little bit more kind of customization in terms of statistics that you can put and increase with the runes, but keep an eye out for that rune video again in the next week or so. There is a new region, Longting, which we have all been made to start in, and comes with that the new capital of, I believe it's called the Hoajia. It is a very nice kind of capital. It's a very well made, very good quality kind of capital. Long streets with different kind of blocks and stuff around, with obviously all the different NPCs that we need to talk to, such as the warden, the sheriff, the billeting officer. All those kinds of dudes are all in their own kind of little areas, which is quite nice. I think this capital is really well designed. It's a real big shame that we can't actually fight for it this season, but I expect that will open up next season. Bandit raids have replaced thief raids, so definitely you want to be making sure you're doing each of those, so all 5 every single week. The unit experience bonuses, when coupled with your premium rewards, your unit experience cards, all that kind of stuff, it's still massively high. I'm averaging about 200k per bandit raid, which is really nice, until I forget to actually use that experience and it converts into bronze. That's not so nice, but still massive experience gains that can be had in those bandit raids. It is definitely still worth doing. Garrison Quartermaster has replaced the Thane. The store for that guy is fairly similar, but obviously this time around you need to build up that fame again using items which are dropped from battle and things like that. I can't remember the exact names of them, but they're kind of like metal plate things. Make sure you are handing each of these in every single week, along with things like your kind of crafting resources, stuff like that, to really get your fame up and really high. Like I said, the pike stuff I'm going to go into in a different weapon, because it is very unique, kind of different weapon with its combos and everything like that. The pages, so the challenge pages and everything, have kind of been updated, kind of been given a bit of a freshen up with the UI, with the user experience, to actually allow newer players especially to come in and actually choose seasonal challenges a little bit easier, and it's not so bewildering and kind of overruling. I can't think of the word right now, but so it is a little bit easier to actually see what you are choosing, what you are picking, and what you are actually progressing to unlocking. Going down into the campaigns, so the campaign, we are currently in stage 1, which allows us to actually have fights in Longting and Lingyang. Although you cannot start in Lingyang, you can move over there and actually start Territory Wars, which actually starts next week on Tuesday. So that is going to be the first real life territory war. At the minute, we cannot access Maoyang, we cannot access Borderlands, but they will be opening up in the next few weeks. Maoyang will be opening on July the 26th, and then the Borderlands will be opening on August the 9th. When the capitals start actually coming into play, so Daichang and Angliang, which is the core capital of the season. Daichang we can start fighting for on August the 23rd, which is the capital of Lingyang, and the capital Anliang, which is the main capital of Season 8, which is placed up in Maoyang. That opens up for fighting on September the 6th, so you do have a fair bit of time before that actually opens up, which will allow you to build up your regional influence and everything like that as a house, so it actually gives you the opportunity to fight for said capital. So we've got plenty and plenty of territory wars in between those times. Strategic world map warpaths, so they have added a new feature to create strategic warpaths that should serve to reduce the amount of communication needed during territory wars within alliances. So looking at that, I haven't actually seen this in action yet, but it looks like actually we can kind of tell where people are headed in our alliance, so we don't have to constantly keep asking people over TeamSpeak or Discord or whatever actually where we're going, what we're doing, that kind of thing. Actually we can see it straight away on the world map what kind of areas people are moving towards, which is going to really improve the quality of life of the game, because it's quite a, I wouldn't say minor adjustment or minor amendment, but it is quite a big kind of thing that will affect a lot of people. The runes, obviously we have had the rune system actually implemented in the last season. The rune system has changed a little bit, but not so much. It's still pretty much exactly the same. We can now, like I said, actually equip runes to our braces and boots. The weapon rune energy was previously capped at 6. That's been now reduced down to 5. And again, the armor rune energy was previously capped at 6. That has now been reduced down to 3. We can't equip so many powerful runes onto our stuff now, so we need to be a little bit more selective with the runes we are actually taking into battle. But like I said, there will be a very up-to-date and more specific rune video in the next week or so. Moving on. Obviously, the Season 4 Antique Weapon and Hero attires have come into the store this season. So if you did not have the chance to pick up the Season 4 attires, or if you actually just want a recolor of those attires, then they are now in the seasonal store. So optimizations, they've changed. I'm not going to go too much into this, but they have changed the auxiliary units. Now, I believe they've given out compensation in the forms of unit medals if you had auxiliary units that you had, but you hadn't actually properly built them into your barracks, but you had leveled them. I believe they have now all been kind of deleted out of your barracks, and you've been given unit EXP models in compensation for any levels those auxiliary units did have. There's a few other changes for the auxiliary units and mercenaries as well, including things like the costs of them and all that kind of stuff. So if you are looking at more in depth in terms of the auxiliary units, I don't think a lot of people really can't pay this much attention, to be honest. There are further details in the actual patch notes. Imperial Restorer, so the Imperial houses or the AI houses, they haven't actually, or they are in the process of unlocking. You can join them pretty soon. A big change which has come in terms of house diplomacy this season, which I believe has been needed for a very long time, is there are now penalties for houses either leaving or being kicked from alliances. After leaving or being kicked from an alliance, your house now has to wait for 72 hours before they can join or create another alliance. So this is going to stop things like alliance swaps and alliance changes and kicking someone out and then replacing them with someone else and all that kind of stuff that we have seen in the last few seasons. This is a system which has now been put in place to kind of stop that, which is quite a nice thing to see. World map changes. I believe this actually changed before, but I don't think it was ever written down anywhere. Border posts, we can now actually just transfer straight from one region to another, but just by clicking on the border post, we don't have to run through that border post now, which is quite nice. They've done a load of changes with the world map as well, kind of tidied it up and made some improvements for the interaction of stacked models, that kind of stuff. So they've tidied it up a little bit. A big one which has come in this time around though is the score calculation changes for MVP and how well you do in battle have changed somewhat. Specifically, they have increased the maximum score that can be gained for damage taken in standard battles. So as a warlord takes more damage in battle, the rate at which their score is reduced is also decreased, which is quite nice. The MVP algorithm has been changed as well, but they haven't really gone specifically into any detail about actually what that is, but it's more about how you actually perform in the battle now rather than how many kills and stuff you get, which is quite a nice thing to see. On that kind of subject as well, we now have a death information screen. So when you die, you can press, I believe it's T, and it will bring up the death information screen, which will tell you things like the hero damage, the soldier damage, the battle damage, the fall damage, everything like that as well, which is a really good thing to actually be able to see how much damage is happening, and actually some other good kind of morsels of information as well after actually fighting. A really big one in terms of crafting, you can now buy powdered silver, rivets, fasteners, superior steel and enameled leather from the apothecary. It does cost you a little bit. Powdered silver, especially for one powdered silver, is going to cost you 2,500 bronze coins, and you can only buy 30 per week. But with the crafting, they have actually somewhat changed it up as well. They have actually reduced the amount of crafting resources in the game, because we had like steel plates, steel bars, steel everything before. They've actually just made that like one thing now, so you will find a lot of your crafting resources may have disappeared, but they will be in your mail to actually replace what they were with the new things, which is quite a nice thing to see, because actually it reduces down greatly the amount of stuff that we have in our storage or our inventories. Again, still on that kind of similar wavelength, skill pages now are just one skill page for all weapon classes, which is really nice. So we haven't got 30 of glaive, 30 of spear, 20 of musket. We've just now got 80 skill pages. That's it. So actually, again, tidies up our inventories massively. Drop rates for some doctrines have been updated. Going down, going down, going down. Obviously, there have been a few changes in terms of the weapon classes and stuff. I am not going to go into all of them because there's too many to really read out, but glaive, the block break of basic attack has been increased, which is quite nice to see. Block break of arc of steel has also been increased, reduced cooldown as well from 20 seconds to 16 seconds. I do believe in the next couple of weeks specifically we may see some more weapon changes as well, because they are obviously testing constantly what's working, what's not, and actually if they need to change anything. So expect a few different kind of things to change in the next few weeks. Unit balancing and optimization, I'm going to create another video about this because this is a hot subject currently at the minute, so I'm going to change that, or do a specific video about that. All the armor, weapon crafting and everything, obviously because of all the stuff that we've had actually come in that's new in terms of crafting resources replacing the old stuff, they have now kind of changed some of the recipes for stuff as well. There is way too much for me to read out, so definitely have a look at the patch notes for that. So that is all the patch notes in their glory, with all the main points picked out for you so you can just listen and actually understand what has been coming into the game. So the giveaway, we are going to be launching a very big giveaway, not only today as well. I'm going to be running 2 giveaways simultaneously. One is going to start today, one is going to start next week at some point. The first thing you have to do to be eligible to go into the giveaway is hit that subscribe button. If you have not yet already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, because when I draw the winners I do check if you are subscribed. If you are not, you are ineligible to win, and you definitely want to be in with a chance of winning some of these prizes because they are good prizes for the launch of Season 8. There is a Gleam link down in the description box below for you. Hit that Gleam link, it will take you through to the Gleam page where there is multiple different ways you can enter this competition. Obviously the more kind of things you can do in that Gleam page, the better. So it's things like following me on Twitch, following me on Instagram, all that kind of stuff. Quite easy stuff to do, will only literally take you about 2 minutes. And I am going to be drawing the winners for both of the competitions in 3 weeks time, so you've got a fair amount of time to actually enter, but make sure you do enter, because you don't want to actually put it to the side, forget about it and then end up not entering. You definitely do want to be entering. Like I said, enter today, and next week there will be a separate competition as well with a separate Gleam link, which you can then enter a second time as well for the second round of prizes. I'm going to leave this video here. I feel like I've been talking way too much in this video, and this video has gone on a little bit, but I wanted to cover pretty much everything as fully as I think it should be covered. Thank you very much for watching, folks. As always, if you enjoyed this one, hit that like button. Let me know your thoughts so far on Season 8 down below in the comments. Hit that share button, hit that sub button if you haven't already, and I hope to catch you out on the battlefield.